Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics. And, well, there has been some news today. Theresa May has been getting busy writing letters. Now, I want to spend a few minutes on the letter she's written to the EU Council, but there's also a tantalising offer for Labour in the offing. I'll get to that at the end of the video. Now, Theresa May has written a letter to the EU Council President, Donald Tusk, in which she's laid out her plans to prepare for contest in European elections. Now, that is not to say that the government is committing to this before all the Brexiteers have a heart attack, but the Prime Minister is at least accepting the notion that we need to prepare for them. Now, that's encouraging because it means the Prime Minister is serious about avoiding a no-deal Brexit, or at least she's trying to publicly give that opinion. Now, she began her letter by noting that unless the EU grants another extension, that the UK would leave without a deal. That means that she does not intend to put her agreement up for another vote early next week because she'd have to do that before the council meeting because that's when they decide things. Now, bear in mind she's not allowed to put her vote up anyway without changes, as I've already discussed, and I don't expect her to agree changes to even the political declaration with Labour imminently, and this would certainly suggest that as well. But more about that later. So she reiterated her belief that leaving the EU with a deal was the best outcome, to reinforce her Brexit credentials for home consumption. She also discussed the talks with Labour and other MPs to agree a position that accepts the withdrawal agreement without changes, and to that end she explained that they're going to try and make changes to the political declaration. But as I discussed yesterday, opposition parties would have to accept changes that they may approve of but that wouldn't be legally binding, so could be torn up by a future Prime Minister. Now, the Prime Minister went on to say that she did not wish to contest European elections, but understood the notion that we would have to do so if we were still going to be in the EU from May the 23rd. So she said that the government is taking steps to ensure that we're prepared to do that. Now, she also kept stating that she's taking action to get Parliament to agree a way forward rapidly. But we've already in extra time on this, so I can't think that her optimism that she can suddenly get an agreement quickly has any credibility, even if it actually turns out to be true. She's essentially asking the EU to trust her to get an agreement sorted quickly when she's failed to do so in half a year of belligerence. Her plan is to introduce a bill that allows the UK to cancel the European elections at the last minute if a way forward is agreed by Parliament. She ends up by requesting an extension up to 30th of June, as she did last time, but that was turned down because, like I say, we can't be in the EU without having fought those elections, which she is now conceding in this letter. And that's the crux as well. It's not just about that. Her proposal is no different to last time, which the Council rejected, and the objections to it would remain the same. Allowing the extension with or without European elections taking place in the UK risks us leaving the EU without a deal when those elections are taking place. Now, this has a knock-on effect for campaigning in those elections in the other member states, where populists may seek to take advantage of this. So the Council wants the UK to either leave now or commit to a course of action with a likely resolution. Now, having some mad old bat who's already had her plans for withdrawing from the EU repeatedly rejected by Parliament and telling you that she's got it all in hand and that the same Parliament is totally going to go along with her plan really soon, totally promise that, that's not going to convince a sceptical European Council, especially when she's asking in her letter for the very thing that they rejected last month. If this is her genuine proposal, which she had to submit before next Wednesday's emergency summit, then it's going to be another repeat. She's going to go in, have her say, hopefully not for an hour and a half this time. Then she'll be made to leave the room while they come up with their own proposal. We'll then have to accept it because we don't want to leave without a deal. And that's where it looks like it keeps going. We need the EU Council to make these decisions for us because our own political leaders are too afraid to do what's best for the country against what they're told is a majority of the population's beliefs. Much better to be told what to do by other countries and then say to their electorate that they had no choice because the nasty old EU is being mean. But of course, this runs the risk of council members losing patience and just cutting us off without an extension under any circumstances. Now, I know Donald Tusk is talking about a long extension of about a year, but other heads of state may wish to end it all right now. So then the only option that we would have independently is to take the highly undesirable act of revoking Article 50. Though that would at least guarantee another referendum, I suppose. But it wouldn't be a good way to do it. And would Parliament vote for it? I'd be very hesitant to say it would, as I always have been. But since 191 MPs voted for that just this week, when it was not officially supported by either of the main parties, if either the Prime Minister or the Leader of the Opposition got behind it, then it could actually pass. Even if it didn't, you know, that's when your accidental no deal comes in. And that's always the danger. That's the danger that lots of experts have been warning about all the way through this process. But back to the letter. And there's a clear commitment to take part in EU elections, even though she's trying to phrase it as a just in case. So for the first time in a long time, I would now relegate a no-deal Brexit from being the most likely outcome. It's still there, but there's been another development, which has the potential to blow this whole Brexit nonsense clear. Now, I won't believe it until it's verified, but there's a number of sources that can generally be reliable on these things. There's been a tantalising suggestion that Theresa May, the Prime Minister, is prepared to make a written offer to Jeremy Corbyn which provides for a confirmatory vote. It would need to be voted on by Parliament, of course, but as this would be a joint proposal of both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition, that would mean Jeremy Corbyn would have to whip in favour of it, because that's the official Labour position. Yes, there'll be those rebels who will vote against it, but the rest of the opposition will vote for it. And the strongest opposition the Prime Minister could put in its way is to allow a free vote amongst her MPs. In a situation like that, if she doesn't specifically whip against it, enough Conservative MPs will vote for it. That's pretty much already been shown. If she was bold, she might even whip in favour of it. But either way, it would pass. Now, if true, then we're doing it, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing it here. It also means something very interesting about May's motivations, which I'd like to come back to, but I'll do that in a video later on. And finally, it also means that the Letwin-Cooper bill that is currently passing through the Lords is unlikely to be needed. It should still go ahead, of course, because we can't be certain, but it sounds very much like the Prime Minister is going to accept whatever the EU offer us, and what they sound like they'll offer us is either nothing or an extension of 1 year if we agree to those EU elections. And if Parliament votes for the people's vote, then we'll be needing those elections anyway. Just make sure everyone turns up for them so that we can return fewer Eurosceptic MEPs. So exciting stuff. As I say, I want to bring up one of these themes in a separate video later on tonight. Let me know what you think, of course. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe for further content, click the bell notification as well. Until next time, I'll see you later.